metaphor I got that I freaking love. This has moved me from the front lines into the captain's chair. Whole bunch of I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm actually able to ask the right questions now and start learning the right things. All right. Got a really good question about AI from my friend Corey. He is a professional entrepreneur and he works in digital marketing. This is a space familiar to a lot of us coming from the creator space where you make videos that are advertisements for local people, and you do that social media, YouTube, all this other stuff. It's a pretty exciting space. That's how I met a lot of people. If you're here, you might be from there too, from Anthony Gallo's ConstantCreators.com. So it's appealing, it's neat, and it's getting changed a whole lot with this. And what he asked was, how is this going to affect marketing? Now, he's politely asking because he is doing this for a living right now. So he has a pretty good idea. But we're going to discuss it and see what we can come up from the engineer AI scientist perspective. The main hit he's getting at is, how is this for appeal? Because his marketing it's user facing. And then things like social opinion start to matter. It's not just purely how effective it is. Woo! Big shifts from the world of engineering that I swim in. It's more about soft feelings and image. So the idea of, hey, we're using AI for this, that can be a severe penalty if you talk to one person, or it can be a big advantage if you talk to somebody else. So this is something I'm going to wrap up into a little bit. Now, just for me, for the AI stuff I'm working on for content creation, I'm liking the engine we put together here. All of this is fake, so no one's going to surprise. Oh my God, I can't believe it's not real. The next step is going to be removing friction. This is one of the most difficult things to explain to non-engineers why it matters. There's all these steps in the process, and the hard work was getting all of those working. And that's the scale that everybody cares about. But then after that, there's this extra step, which doesn't sound like much, where you remove the friction. You automatically link the different tools together. You connect it to the data source, the outside world, things like that. And when you explain it to it, it doesn't sound like much, but the effects are gargantuan. I'm trying to think of metaphors that would be good to explain it. It's like the difference between a bucket of sand and a nuclear detonation. The only difference between a bucket of the right sand and the actual atomic explosion is you remove all of the non-useful dirt so that there is more connections between all of the actual uranium. And that is what turns it into, it sits there and honestly probably wouldn't even make you sick, to a big deal. All right? This is the difference between a rock where, okay, you get a bigger rock and that's going to be heavier, might hurt more if you get hit, into a black hole that tears a hole in space, making a wormhole and possibly actually shattering time. This is not just more. This completely transforms it into something else that you can't even imagine what it is right now. Another example, getting more organic, okay? This is the difference between the feeling of self, that I'm me, you're you, and we both know something, we'll have a conversation, we'll teach each other, but we are very separate, to we are all just one thing. The only difference is that it takes a long time for the information in your brain to reach mine and go back. That is it. That is the entire foundation of thinking we are different people and individualism. My brain cells are just wired so together that it's so connected to all of them so fast that, oh, I'm just one person and A whole lot of things happen that wouldn't work if it was individual cells. My final one for the visual people. I remember walking into a room when I was in high school, and there was a computer on the desk, and on the screen was a freaking picture of a person. Like a real person. It looked like a human, not a cartoon or an outline. And I'd never seen that before. And this was the wake-up call of, oh, I see where this is going. Because the only difference is you had a dot. That was Pong. And then you had more dots. And then you have more dots. And then eventually you have so many of them that it goes from, this is a neat thing, to that is looking at a person. The very same things happening with AI right now of, well, that's a neat bit of information. That's a neat little trick it can do. That's a neat little assistance of knowledge assistance. But you go from that Pong to that looks like a person. The only difference is just the quantity. So reducing the friction on this, it's that concept. We're removing the separations. We're turning everything into a larger quantity of one connected thing, and things start getting wild. Me personally, this has been the difference between being at the front lines and feeling like now that I'm in the captain's chair. And I'm learning different things. I'm not learning more. I'm not learning faster. I am learning different things that I would have never learned in 20 years of sitting there on the front lines, messing around with editing, script writing for 20 hours a week. Now I'm asking questions about what is the right topic. I had a great research session with AI yesterday about how do you explore topics. I've heard the phrase that I'm aiming to emulate. Each experiment you do in entrepreneurship needs to cover as much ground as possible. So if you say, I talk about speaking skills, and then I talk about speaking skills on a Friday, you're like, that's different, but it's so close to the same thing, you're not covering much new ground. It's going to take you forever to minesweeper enough area to find a product market fit. But this phrase is still too vague to take action on. Enough. How do I know what's going to cover enough area? Because at the same time, if I just randomly start throwing out topics so wide-ranging, there's no real signal of what was it that made that one work and what made this one not work. The most obvious thing to look out for is, fame jacking, that we just take the topic and then make it about a famous person. Well, okay, you got videos, but you got views, but it was just because of that person. People care about the celebrity or that big event. They don't actually care about the topic you're talking about. And it gave me some pretty good suggestions that you should, first of all, you have to start, your starting line needs to be a proper relevant thing. It doesn't have to work, but it has to have a specific person, a specific problem they have, a specific feeling they have about it, and a specific action or solution that you're recommending. Then from there, only move one axis at a time. If you move too many things at once, you're not going to really understand what the decrease or rise in your engagement means. But you have to have all four and then start tweaking them one at a time. And once you have that, you're free to move that one axis as wide as you want. The wider you do, the more area that new topic will explore for you, and you could rapidly start iterating through what is the best intersection between things you care about and are good about, and people actually give a shit about. That last part, I strongly neglected. So I'll come back to that more, but that is basically what the focus of all this is. With that, worth mentioning is another half of that, exploring the area. What was it? Oh well, let's just move on to the questions. So, AI in marketing, a plus or a negative? If you're just completely Machiavellian and ruthless and just want to get results done and get paid, which actually is going to work better for you? Let's see what the questions are today.
1. If you openly use AI in your marketing, does that increase trust because you're efficient? Or decrease trust because clients assume it's automated and impersonal?
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, you just rephrased the same question. I think it's going to depend severely based on who you're talking to, which industry you're talking to. So the age-old question, everything we talk about, the answer is understand your market, understand your avatar. This is what has made entrepreneurship so great for every other important thing you try to accomplish in life. And this naturally comes down to listening. You're going to have to be able to ask people and try to talk to people in different industries and get answers to find this out. I would love to do a full-on deep dive just on listening and how you actually do market research like this, because it's a lot more deep mindset shifts than we appreciated. But to just focus on our topic right now, I honestly think this is going to be split by consumer-facing versus B2B. If it's B2B, everybody's talking about AI nonstop. They are chasing it down like a bloodhound. So if that is what your market is, if those are the people that you're aiming for, and those people have a lot of money, I think going AI first, bragging about it, putting a seal on your website saying we are using AI is going to be a big thing. Hell, make a video about how you're using AI to show off how good you are at doing that. But if it's targeted to consumers, B2C, I think that's the only time that anyone's going to have a problem with AI. And that's actually what Corey is doing. He specifically, he does B2B, he's to consider B2C, and he specifically saying we are not AI, this is all human made. I'm actually going to go out with my iPhone in my hand so it's shaky so you can completely tell that not only it's not AI, it's also not an advertisement, which it is. So we'll just skip to this right now. The primary thing, AI is going to be better at faking being human than you are. This whole thing of using your shit camera and shaking your hand when you are a trained professional, you have a fancy camera right next to you with a gimbal, and it is natural for you to ninja walk and make things smooth. That's artificial. It's fake. But it's what the fake that people want to believe and be lied to. So AI can fake things too. I don't think there's going to be a barrier in that too long.
See, when agencies advertise themselves as 100% human-made, is that a genuine value proposition or just nostalgia package as a differentiator?
Well, I resent the concept of just nostalgia. When we're in marketing, nostalgia is incredibly powerful. It's a strong tool you can be picking from. So that's a valid choice to go. But yeah, it's nostalgia. What you could do, being completely Machiavellian, is we can use AI to do our research on the millions of individual customers out there. If you're targeting enterprise, corporate clients, that's easier. Just go, hey, there's one, let's research it individually, manually. But it's the humans, the consumers, the most skittish, scared people that are the disparate millions of individual things that you have to do a lot of market research, brute force. And guess what's good at that? AI. So that might be the route we go to. But getting to the question you're asking here, will that be valued as a proposition? 100% human made, you know what this is. You've seen it before. You should recognize it. This is the new version of virtue signaling. Whether you like virtue signaling, or don't like it, that's not my call to make. But that's what this is going to be. So fit this into the same slot as that, and you're going to have all your answers of what to do and how to handle it and when to use it. We're going to find a whole lot of people making AI pretending it's not and screaming about it being human made because this is the new virtue that everybody wants to feel they're supporting. We don't clearly understand why. We don't have time to figure that out, but it's a feeling that a lot of people have strongly. So just treat it like that.
3. Agencies that refuse to use AI today are choosing to be less effective on purpose, and that's irresponsible to their clients.
Less effective. I would love to hear more about what you define effective as, because that was a big surprise for me. I mean, I already knew it, but I forget about it. That making the shaky cam on your cell phone is such a powerful marketing tool. Gory knows what he's doing, and he tests this in the real world and gets actual experimental data feedback. And he says, when he goes out with the iPhone on his hand, it gets more attention, it gets more retention, it gets more views, it has more impact on the businesses that he's trying to help make sales and grow. So it is absolutely effective. So there's definitely no way that going 100% human today guarantees that you're being less effective and doing it on purpose. So if that's something that confuses you and you're not used to seeing, let's chat a little bit more about marketing. There's some surprising things about that. One of my favorite ones is, so marketing's all about making people feel something no matter how. And some of these tactics can range from a little uncomfortable to hitting on psychology that we desperately don't want to believe is true, but is. There's a slice of marketing, a style, where you intentionally stir up fake hatred for the very product you're trying to sell. The big example, man, I should just memorize this story, but there was some product in some town, and they went on to a talk show and posed just pretending to be protesters who think it's immoral and hate the product. And they spent the entire talking about how it should be banned and it's horrific and whatever. And that got so much attention. Then the next week, they had a different member of their team go on and is like, we are the counters. Like, we are from that company, and we are a good, honest, moral company. We care about our people. And all this is a lie. All this is a fake. No one in the world cared about this or had any of those feelings. But it's on the news. These people think it's evil. These people think it's good. And now you have everyone in the town doing nothing but talking about that one thing. Guess what happens to your sales? and this is a thing. So doing things that intentionally look to non-marketers as hurting your product sales do great things for a lot of cases. This is a deeper part that we can really get into, and maybe we should have an actual human on that knows about marketing and could tell us more about that.
4. If rough, less polished content performs better because it feels real, are we actually optimizing for authenticity or just engineering the appearance of imperfection?
Engineering the appearance of authenticity. There's that old phrase that I love, and they say it's from Miles Davis. It takes a lot of practice to learn how to sound like yourself. And that is the goddamn truth. The first time you get up on stage, the first time you record a video, the first time you play guitar, it doesn't sound how you feel. Voice is the most strong one. You like, that's not my voice. Like, what the crap is going on? It's not the words in your head, and it's not the feeling in your heart. So actual authenticity sounds insincere. That is the weird part. It's comfortable for us to go, oh, that didn't sound very good. But, he's an amateur. That's actually how he is. But when something sounds cold, uninterested, when this is the most important thing in the world to you and you're just shutting down and you can't express it, that is authenticity. But it doesn't sound like authenticity. I'm a curious guy, maybe above average. So I have lived I've had a lot more experiences than people think are believable. So all the time, someone will ask me a question about, oh, so what did you do for college? Or, how many, like, so did you ever spend time in Japan? Anyway, there's a lot of things. And the true, honest, sincere answer, people are like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. There's no way. I'm like, this is it. This is actually how my life is. And, the thing that sounds authentic and sincere is a lie. A lie that I would tell, oh, I went to school and kept, Hawaii for a while, and I got a degree, and then I got a 9 to 5, and here I am today. I'd be like, oh, that sounds believable. But the real story is so much less believable. So we're optimizing for the appearance. That's all that marketing is. None of those husband and wives soulfully hugging their kids at night for an insurance company are even married. Yeah, I'm going to take a breath right now. One of the primary goals I want to get out of this is simply improving my own speaking skills. It's not a requirement, so don't follow me over this cliff if it's not something interesting to you. But for me, this is the way that I want to win. There's a lot of different ways you can succeed in business and in personal fulfillment and just in life in general. So it doesn't have to be this way. But for me, it is. This is the tool that I want to have to win. So I'm rushing through these a little more than I'd like to. I want to find ways to take risks and experiment with how I'm answering these questions, the way I speak through them, to try and maximize how much I learn about that. So I'm going to see if I can start adding more to the next one.
5. At what point does leaning into AI stop being a competitive edge and start eroding the very human signal that makes people buy in the first place?
So, you care about the human signal. And that is the right question. But the human signal isn't on the output. The human signal is on the input. This is the part that we all struggle with the most. If you are rich, you probably are already really good at listening to people and getting information. If you're struggling like me, you're probably not the best at focusing on the input side. It's everything, man. No one's gonna care or even be able to tell about the edge of what you put in your content that goes out to people. The human signal that makes people buy in the first place is you understanding what this group of people feels, what they care about. This is the very reason why I'm doing this new experimental format, because I want to try a wider range of topics so I can see what things someone cares about. I can react to it, and I can listen, and I can hear. And that's everything. So if you think that the connecting edge of human signal is how well you talk and what comes out of your brain into them, you're completely wrong. A very awkward, caveman-made advertisement that completely understands what a certain group really most cares about, the way they talk about it, and what they want out of it, will succeed wildly.
One, as AI tools become baseline and universal, will AI-powered marketing become meaningless the way internet-enabled did?
What do you mean?
1. As AI tools become baseline and universal, will AI-powered marketing become meaningless the way internet-enabled did?
Oh, like AI tools in your marketing business would become a commodity and not something that's a competitive edge. I think something interesting is going to happen here, actually. I'm really glad to be doing this project because it's making me realize a lot more about what's going to happen with AI than I did just sitting around with my own experience. The obvious expectation is everything's eventually just going to become max power and there'll be no differentiation between anything because AI is just too powerful, yada, yada, yada. But what I'm really think is going to happen is we're just going to get specific on certain niches of it. AI is a very big thing, but it's already a subset of something bigger. It's a subset of software, data. Now, when we get this big and it starts doing everything for us, there will be a period where we can go into certain sub-niches. We will start talking about AI the way that people talk about music. That, like, I'm not a music lover, I'm a country lover. There's a specific type of thing in it that does a specific thing in a specific way with a certain people for a certain audience that I really care a lot about, and it's not generic anymore. I think that it's going to be exciting to see the different ways that businesses, marketing businesses, will focus into certain niches, certain applications, certain things they can do with the AI powered after we reach a certain level where, holy crap, we can do almost anything with it. Now, what are we going to specialize on? One thing's still going to remain, that there's only so many seconds in a day for somebody to watch the advertisement and listen to it. So you can't cram everything in it. That's a mistake I made a lot my first time ever getting into copywriting. I tried to put every tactic there is all at once. Like, you got to pick. And so people will specialize. And that could be the new differentiator. All right. I am still not sponsored by Core Power, but, it's good to have dreams. Let's try and move on from what we think is happening right now to more about what we expect to happen in the distant future with AI in marketing. This could get weird.
2. Will the future split into two clear camps, hyper-automated performance agencies and ultra-human boutique brands, or will the market punish extremes on both sides?
Oh, that's a good point. Most things in life do punish the extremes. But even more true is the people who use both extremes succeed the most. If you've been content creating or doing entrepreneurship, you know the answer to almost every question is both. Do everything. Should I be targeting entrepreneurs or content creators? Both. And then figure out which one worked. Should I be kind or should I be stern? Both. Because there's different situations where you need both. And if you're only a master of one, you're going to suck. If you're just an average of the two, you're going to do okay. But the people who are great at both are going to be huge. So, yeah, we might end up with some level of hyper-specialized AI marketing and hyper-specialized human marketing and come to a way where we can blend it together. Currently, the way that's fastest for everything we're doing in AI is human-monitored AI, where you're in the loop, but it's doing a lot of the workhorse stuff. We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to say again, I get so interested in trying to think about the answer to the question that I lose track of trying to do something more with the delivery of the answer, which is a sign this is a freaking perfect experiment. I'm excited about it. Speaking skills, it's not about how well you can speak. It's how you can speak under duress in the situations when you're not calm and just going concretely. For me, the worst I ever speak is when I get too excited because I just lose all of my training and all I just want to do is talk about how I'm excited about the thing. So this will be perfect for the thing that I most need to learn. Love it.
3. In 10 years, the only agencies that survive will be the ones that integrate AI so deeply that clients can't tell where the human ends and the machine begins.
Yes. Okay, this person gets it. That's where it's all going. the very core of what AI does is it removes borders between things. It connects them together. So the idea that we're going to have this block of this is AI and this isn't, and they're fighting each other, is just fucking ridiculous. AI is going to bleed seamlessly and connect and not vanish, but there's not going to be any on or off of it. That's just what's naturally going to happen. So the seamless blending between human and AI, that you can't tell where one starts and the other ends, that is absolutely what's going to happen. So my number one advice I would give to Corey is right now, today, you're going to need to focus on what is the right fit for your demographic. Pro AI or 100% human. And that's going to be completely dependent on what your people are. But looking forward to the future, the thing you should start getting prepared for, keep your eye open for, so you recognize it when it's time, is blending them together. Almost all of this it's just the cultural feeling about this is going to change so fast once we start feeling the actual effects. Everyone's scared of it because most people don't understand it and most people can't use it. And the unfortunate thing is there's no way around it. AI is like when you break up with your girlfriend to find your wife. All you see at the beginning is all the bad parts, all the things you lose, even though later you're going to get something even better, but it comes later and you don't know what it is. But guess what's going to happen? We're going to start getting that, and people are going to start enjoying that and loving it, and it's going to change the culture of people going, okay, yeah, it was bad. And yeah, it got worse. But then this part, which I would not give up for anything, now I got out of it, and I love it, and it's great. And once that happens, it's going to be an easy to sell, to go, we're a hybrid. We're a mix of both. And everyone's like, yeah, good. I'm a hybrid. I'm a mix of both. That's why I have the life I like, and I have this fulfillment I have. So that's going to be the route we're going to head to.
4. If AI can generate hyper-personalized campaigns at scale, what will clients actually be paying humans for strategy, taste, accountability, or just someone to blame when it fails?
Oh, you might actually have me on that one. Fuck. I want to say a lot of things, but I think accountability of somebody to blame when it fails could be the primary thing we actually will have people for. God, this guy could end up being some sort of weird Soviet era prisoners game where people will just take ownership of some AI and say they built it, but really they just hit some buttons and have no idea how it actually works. But if it goes wrong, they'll get sued into oblivion or put into prison for life, and it's just I hope it works. Because the only purpose we have someone is to be a scapegoat. I will say, in my work as a physical engineer, so before I was a software engineer or an AI scientist, I was doing structural engineering, buildings, and nuclear reactors. And the whole system is set up that there is always a person legally responsible for every decision that's made. You get your license so that you have a stamp, so you can stamp plans and say, I promise that this is correct. I stake my life on it. You don't know. No one has time to check every little thing. You would make less than minimum wage if you did. And so we already have this practice, this system, this cultural convention in place that people are basically getting paid to be able to be blamed when it goes wrong, but they don't fully know if it is or not. That was scary back then. It's scary now, but this is something we've always done. Interesting idea.
5. When AI can simulate authenticity flawlessly, will openly human marketing become a luxury good, a rebellion, or completely irrelevant?
Well, this is the whole thing. It's not about what it will be. It's what the perception will be. And yeah, this is already baked into us of, oh, I want to be rebellious. Give me the opposite. Or, oh, I want to be fancy. I'm the luxurious guy. Give me the handmade. I don't care if it's even worse. I want it made the most difficult way. We can fake it. You know what AI is going to do? Be better at faking it. So that's what's going to happen. In general, this is the repeated lesson of AI. That it's not about what you're creating, what you're saying, what you're putting out. It is 100% about what people are feeling, what they are thinking. It's listening, man. And any question that's not talking about the listening and it's talking about the saying, you don't get it. You're so far out of the loop on AI that I'm starting to worry for you. The perception of being a luxury good, the perception of being authentic, the perception of being made by human hands. That's what it's all about. All right. So, this is getting a little bit more clear on how AI is actually affecting us. It's been interesting having a slightly different industry or focus that we're looking at this to get another dimension, because it's just shaking out the commonalities that I wouldn't realize if we hadn't compared A versus B. The extreme focus on market research, understanding what they feel, and it all just becoming about that because the creating part is going to become effortless. So we get to double down on that. It'll be pretty interesting. This is something you should think more about. If you don't have an active practice for improving your listening skills, now's the time to get started. If that's something you want to chat about, hit me up. It's both fun and such a huge payoff, everything you have on that, professionally and personally. So, if you haven't opened that door, let's chat, let's get you started. We'll find something or we'll build something together. All right? See you next time.